And we have with us now former senior diplomat S.R. Thayal to discuss the developments in West Asia. Welcome, sir, to the program. So Israel has promised a response to the missiles that Iran fired into its airspace. What, broadly speaking, is Israel likely to target in its response?
Israel would like to target the nuclear establishments in Iran, but the nuclear establishments of Iran are now deep in very deep bunkers, and they cannot be hit just by missiles. And for like we saw in Lebanon, the Hezbollah chief was killed by bombs which were dropped by air, 2,000 pound bombs, very, very, very big bombs. But your Israeli Air Force cannot bomb Iran without refueling on the way back in air. And for that, they need American help. Both, it is reportedly Saudi Arabia and UAE, etc., while they are neutral in this conflict between Israel and Iran, but they have said that they will not allow Israeli planes to overfly their territories. So what I'm saying is, or what the analysts are saying, that perhaps then Israel will target some oil installations in Iran, which will have a devastating effect on the global oil market. Now, Iran may not be able to hit back on Israel because of Iron Dome, and we have seen twice Iran has sent missiles and drones, etc., to Israel, and last week also. But it has not inflicted any noticeable damage on Israeli installations or defense installations or infrastructure, because they have very solid anti-missile defenses, and Israel is supported in that by American assets as well as assets of Jordan and other countries. So Iran then may retaliate in some other place. Where it could be, it is difficult to say, and that is why it is very important that the entire world puts pressure on Israel to be restrained and not attack Iran. India has also yesterday issued a statement and that all the parties should exercise restraint so that there is no further escalation.
Yeah, but are we looking at an escalation in this West Asia conflict? If so, which parties are likely to be involved and how serious will that escalation be?
Israel has stated 2 or 3 objectives after the 7 October last year terrorist attack on its citizens. One was the total destruction of Hamas in Gaza, and perhaps to a large extent they have achieved that by totally destroying the total top leadership of Hamas, and also their foot soldiers, and Gaza is in ruins. Now, second objective is that a 7 October type of incident should not be the capacity of Hezbollah to mount from South Lebanon towards Galilee and Israel, because apparently some Hezbollah commanders had threatened that they will attack Galilee and kill Israeli citizens. So Israel wants to have a cordon sanitaire, kind of 10, some people say 10 kilometers, some people say 30 kilometers of border from Israel, Lebanon, which will be free of any bases, any camps, any groups of Hezbollah. And this is exactly what Israel is trying to do by repeatedly asking the Lebanese of South Lebanon to move away so that they can attack those areas. And that is where UNIFIL, the United Nations Interim Force for Lebanon, because that is guarding that about 130 kilometers of that border, has come into under fire. Now, the third objective, of course, long-term objective of Iran well, Israel and particularly of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has been that the nuclear weapons capacity of Iran should be totally dismantled or destroyed. Now, if that would require an attack by Israel on Iran. So, if there is further escalation, it will be an attack from Israel by Iran, which can have very, very unintended consequences because ultimately Hamas is a very small terrorist organization. Hezbollah also is a very small organization, but Iran is a very big country with lots of assets, and its retaliation may not damage Israel very much, but it can damage the global economy a lot.
Looking at all these developments, Ambassador Tayal, why have all efforts by various parties to secure a ceasefire in West Asia come to a naught?
The whole world wants a ceasefire, but as I said, Prime Minister Netanyahu has support of the people of Israel. Many polls show that people want Prime Minister Netanyahu to be as aggressive as he can. So he has support of his people in Israel, and he has overt or unspoken support of United States. President Trump, former President Trump, and Republican Party openly have supported, and they say that Israel should not be restrained at all in taking retaliatory action against Iran and Iran's proxies, Hezbollah and Hamas. As far as Democratic Party is concerned, President Biden, of course, has reservations and has advised Israel, but Israel has openly defied President Biden and Secretary of State Blinken, because he knows that in this elections are due in America next month, and President Biden is just in no position to take any strong action against Israel. So Prime Minister Netanyahu has very clearly assessed that he has this window of 2 months to do whatever he can, because the Democrats, the President Biden cannot pressurize him because he will lose right votes and Jewish votes. And if after him, Vice President Kamala Harris becomes the president, then perhaps pressure on Israel to self-restraint would be more. So he wants to use these 2 months to achieve whatever he can. And after that, if President Trump wins, then of course there will be no restraint on Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Israeli government. And America will turn a blind eye to whatever they do to the civilians or to any other country in West Asia. So situation is very dangerous, and the agenda is being set by Prime Minister Netanyahu, and only he can tell how far he wants to go.
A word on the humanitarian crisis in West Asia unfolding, Ambassador Tayal. Is it likely to improve or worsen in the days ahead?
I'm afraid it is likely to worsen. And the amount of destruction which has taken place in Gaza, 40,000 killed, and you see all the pictures which are coming, the assistance which is going is peanuts. It doesn't help at all. And Lebanon, now every day there are more bombings in Beirut and other places. There is more shifting of populations. There again, yesterday Israel issued some order, Israeli army, IDF, Israeli Defense Forces, that more people of South Lebanon should leave those areas because they are going to attack. So the number of refugees is likely to increase. And I am sorry to say that the humanitarian crisis is likely to increase in the days to come.
And in case of a wider West Asia conflict, how far and in what ways would the world economy be affected? And specifically, how would India be affected, sir?
Israel can attack Iran, and if they attack oil installations in Iran, then Iran can retaliate by choking the Persian Gulf, the Strait of Hormuz, by sinking some ships there. They have that much capacity. that some oil tankers, etc., if they torpedo and sink, that the Strait of Hormuz can be closed. They could even retaliate and on some oil installations of other countries, Gulf countries, because they have not come to Iran's help, whether it is Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, UAE, etc. So then it can have terrible consequences because the world supply of oil would decline, and it will hurt India also because 90% of our crude oil is imported. Our total 100%, 90% is imported. We, of course, get a lot from Russia and Venezuela, and which are outside Persian Gulf. But still, about half of our crude supplies come from Gulf areas, and it will be a very serious impact on India's economy. So I am sure our diplomats, our leadership are advising Israel to hold its hand, because nobody can force Israel except United States. Yes, United States still has that capacity to force Israel, but because of the elections next month, the Biden government will not be able to put pressure on Israel, because they can just stop supply of ammunition to Israel. And Israel, most of their ammunition, their supplies are for 1 or 2 weeks. And again and again, the supplies are being replenished by American companies and by American grant. So, yes, America has that power, that to leverage, to ask Israel to stop. But till now, President Biden, Secretary of State Blinken, they have only been advising verbally.
Yeah, and
Uh,
global diplomacy
they have
still has
defined
to work a lot for this
yes, yes.
crisis in West Asia to halt. Thank you very much, Ambassador Thayal, for joining us on News Hour and shedding valuable analysis on the subject.